innovation requires dedication and ambition. And oftentimes dedication and ambition is driven by profits.
I understand. And competition it's always been a part of things. But how many times in the history of this world, because as Graham talks about, there could be hundreds of thousands of years in multi-Younger Dryas events. How many times did we get to this point? Was there other societies that they weren't strictly motivated by profits and advancement and competition in the form of division that actually figured the shit out?
Well, that would be if you had a time machine. If you could exist in like a bulletproof sphere that was invisible to all the people around you and just observe a time, I would want to observe Egypt in its prime.
Same.
I just would go, what were you guys doing? What were they doing? Like, what was it like?
I need one of these jellyfish UAPs that they're showing and go back.
That one is the least interesting to me.
How come?
I'm not interested in it. It just doesn't seem like anything. It's flying around. It just goes in the water, comes out of the water. Like, okay. Like, so what?
Which ones do you like?
I like the ones that move off at insane rates of speed. And that, like the Tic Tac one. The Tic Tac one, I was watching this documentary on it the other day. And they were saying that the footage was released because it wasn't supposed to be released. Someone recorded it. Someone recorded the FLIR footage. And someone released it. And if it wasn't for that video footage that people have tried to debunk and they try to come up, but whatever the fuck that thing is, it's showing no visible means of propulsion. It moves off at an insane rate of speed. It's documented on radar. It's documented by eyewitness accounts from multiple jets. It's documented by the instrumentation that's in the jets. They saw this thing. They know that this thing is operating in some way that we have no idea how to do that using conventional propulsion methods. And they said that it's a much longer video. That what they got was only a small piece of it, and that there's actually much more of it that the government has. Whatever the fuck that thing is, like that to me, those are the kind of UFOs I'm fascinated by. Something that can go from above 50,000 feet above sea level to 50 feet in less than a second. Like, what is that? What is that? Is that ours? Is that why it's always near military bases? Is that why it's over in San Diego, off the coast of the Nimitz, where the Nimitz was at? Is that why it's over in the East Coast, where they have restricted airspace? Is that why these things are always in these places? Is it ours? I mean, if I had some sort of a super sophisticated drone technology that is above and beyond what we think of in terms of what's technologically available today, I would say it's UFOs too. I would say, we've out of this world craft. Yeah.
Yeah, but some of that is reverse engineered stuff.
Could be.
Right? That's what
it
Bob
could
Lazar
be.
says. Yeah.
Or there could be a branch of physics. This is what Eric Weinstein has theorized. And the way he talks about it, it's quite brilliant. And he talks about this one particular college in New York, one particular university that has an insane physics department. And it's also connected to this hedge fund that does like Bernie Madoff numbers that like don't seem to make sense. But so that would be a great way to get money for these things. And that you have this insane physics department. So you have these people, if you talk, like that's one of the things that Diana Pasulka talked about in her book about the people that are documented that are involved in these crash retrieval programs and supposedly involved in these back engineering programs. The amount of secrecy and their adherence to secrecy is spectacular. And this idea that people can't keep secrets, what the fuck they can't? Yeah, people could keep secrets.
What do you think is the ultimate reason for that? Because there's a lot of ideas on why they can't release it. Because like Roswell, and there's been a number of different types of Roswells, which whether that was ETs that we interacted with, whether there's some sort of alliance between other, alien extraterrestrial races, and what do you think is the major fear around not releasing that?
Well, I think there's a bunch of fears. First of all, someone has got to be held responsible for misallocation of funds. So let's say that you have defense spending, you have some private company, which is, by the way, which they all think it's private companies that are involved in defense companies that are involved in this research.
Like the Lockheed Martin of the world.
Which are much better at keeping secrets,
right?
Than the government is. And that if you have misallocation of funds and you've lied to Congress. Like, someone goes to jail for that. We're talking about laundering, essentially. Could be hundreds of millions, if not billions and billions of dollars over decades. So who made these decisions? Did they make the decisions? Did Congress not know about it? So if they didn't know about it, they're going to want to know about it. And if they find out that you've been lying to them all this time, well, guess what? You're going to jail. So who's going to jail? Who misallocated funds? Where did the funds go? Was any of that funds filtered? Did anybody get wildly rich during this time? Was there some skimming like we think is going on in Ukraine? Was there, when you have a shitload of money.
But who went to jail when Rumsfeld said on September 10th of 2001, there's $2 trillion missing?
Yeah.
Unaccounted for.
Nobody. Well, they couldn't account for, right? Is an interesting way of saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody. Yeah. Well, also.
The
Pentagon fails its audit every year.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's crazy.
But they just hired all those IRS agents to go after.
Yeah.
To go after everybody.
Anybody who spends more than $300.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's also conversations around how it can fuck with religion, and the ideologies that so many people have and the belief systems. If there's, say there is extraterrestrial life, and how many planets in the galaxy have we found now that could sustain life even in a close proximity to us?
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah,
so but Diana Pasulka's work, what they're talking about is not even necessarily something from another planet. Perhaps something from another planet, but maybe
Earth?
something that's from another dimension. Maybe something that's hyper advanced that has the ability to access us and can come and go as it pleases, can go in and out.
So it's basically here all the time. We just can't see it because it's multidimensional.
Yes.
It's fifth dimension.
It's something.
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, again, this is what Bob Lazar talked about when he was on the show. He said, if you had brought a nuclear reactor to, the 1400s and showed it to people, it'd be indistinguishable from magic. They'd be like, what the fuck is that? This is sorcery. This is crazy. But now it's just normal. As time goes on, 1 million years, 2 million years from now, if somehow or another there's intelligent beings that have continued this evolution of technology and innovation, they're going to get to a place where they have the ability to do things that are unfathomable. You can't even imagine it. Your mind is not capable of it because you don't have a point of reference. You don't have context. There's not pre-existing technology that leads you to make a logical bridge towards this potential.
It's not the words. Like they talk about